Hey everybody, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. We are starting now. Shout out to everybody. Welcome everybody. Now hold up. I'm just making sure everything's settled and set up and everything. Let me share this live with everybody. Allow people to get in here. The court has already started, so of course you guys know we're on USA time. So it's a little bit of a different time frame, but I did pull from two different sources, and the news has been breaking because the McCanns have taken the stand at this trial, and we got to talk about everything that is happening. Shout out to everybody. Now, I want to shout out Cash. Shout out to Cash because Cash was the one who tagged me initially and let me know about the live feed. Thank you. Now, the other thing that I had a question about, somebody asked in the chat about court transcripts. I'm not really sure how that works down in the UK as far as court transcripts go. But if you guys know of somebody that can get them, I'm willing to pay for court transcripts. Just putting that word out there. If you're somebody in that area that's able to get court transcripts from the first day, second day to the third day, I'm willing to pay. Put some of them my money in that because I think it's important. You guys know we love transcripts over here. We'll review them, and I mean I think the truth is important to be told, right? You don't have that in the UK. We live now. Well, that sucks. I thought somebody said that they did. Hold up. Hang, they don't have that they don't have court transcripts in the UK? Lord have mercy. Okay, hold up. Now, let me let the good people know. The good people, and I literally went to bed yesterday. I was so tired. So we are behind clearly a couple hours from the hearing. We live now. You guys know how I do here. I'm going to review. I have two sources that I'm reviewing from. We're going to review the BBC, and then we're going to review. There's another. It's called UK Courts, and they're live streaming as well, or live tweeting from that court. Okay, you said you're not. The UK is not majestic. I thought they would have had like court transcripts. How do you not have court transcripts? Lord, clearly I have a lot to learn. But anyways. Welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm letting the people get in here so we can get started. Okay. And make sure you guys are supporting the channel. Hit the like button, guys, please, and thank you. Look it, you said yes, you can purchase court transcripts in the UK by completing and submitting forms EX 107 to appropriate court, which initiates a process with the transcript company. If you have a link to that, hit my email up. Please do. Like I said, I'm willing to pay. I know it's probably going to be expensive, but I'm willing to pay for the transcripts, okay? Because like I said, I think it's important to expose the truth. This is my email. Whatever that form is, EX107. Let me Google this real quick. UK transcripts. Yeah, it does allow you. It says that you can order transcripts of court or tribunal process. Oh, I'm down for it. I'll order it. I have no problems. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. I found it. Yes, you can order. They have them recorded. Okay, this is the website that I found. So I'm gonna go ahead and order and look into it. Okay, y'all. Shout out to everybody. I'll let you guys know how it goes for me. But let's get started, guys, because we're definitely behind. So this is the BBC. We're gonna start with the BBC, but we have another media company out there as well. Okay, and it goes. Welcome to our live updates. Good morning. We are reporting live from what is it? Leicester Crown Court. I can't even speak. As the trial of Julia Wandelt and Karen Spragg continues, the pair each deny a count of stalking causing serious harm and distress to Kate and Gerry McCann, the parents of missing girl Madeleine McCann, between June of 2022 and February of this year. The prosecution opens this case against Miss Wandelt of Lublin, Poland, and Karen Spragg of Cardiff on Monday. All right, so let's go. There's another reporter that says defendants take the seat. Julia Wandelt is next sitting to a court security officer on the front row of the dock. Karen Spragg is on the back row. This is Maddie McCann, for those that don't know. They're just giving us some info when she vanished. We know that she vanished in May 3rd of 2007 when the family was like on a holiday trip in Portugal. I don't, my opinion, guys, but this is where I have always had an issue with the McCanns of like how come they weren't charged for leaving their children alone and then this happened. But that has always been my opinion, and I'm sure that they've heard of this quite often. Okay, but let's go ahead and move on to page 3 to get us right where we need to go. The key lines from the trial so far. So here's what's been heard in court over the past 2 days. A quick little summary. Julia Wandelt, who the court heard, has repeatedly claimed that she was Madeleine, accosted Kate outside of the family home in Rothley, Leicestershire on December 7th last year with the demand for a DNA test. Karen Spragg was introduced to the jury. The 61-year-old, the court was told, was a forthright supporter of a conspiracy theory that Madeleine's parents were responsible for her disappearance. She began to take an active role in peddling Miss Wandelt's story, the prosecution said. This is Karen Spragg right here. I didn't know she was 61. And I mean, she has done the most. She's fighting with people online. Anyways, we'll put Karen Spragg here in a minute aside. She began to take an active role in peddling Miss Wandelt's story, the prosecution said. The defendants, the court heard, acted as a team. Eventually, the net was spread wider. And contact was made with David Payne and his wife, who had been with the McCanns on the night that Madeleine disappeared. So Julia Wandelt and Karen Spragg stalking and contact went not just on the McCanns, not just on the McCann's daughter, but also on the people that were with the McCanns on the night that Madeleine went missing. The jury was shown text messages exchanged. Cool. Text messages exchanged by the defendants were discussed going through the McCann's bins, the trash bins. The court heard Miss Wandelt was arrested at Bristol Airport on the 19th of February this year as she got off a flight. Mrs. Spragg was arrested afterwards while waiting for her co-accuser in a parked car. Now hold up, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Baby Bunny is watercolor painting. All right. I think she's going to be an artist. I'm just saying. She really likes painting and coloring and doing all kinds of stuff. Okay, let me go back to this and I will talk to you guys in the chat in a minute. The jury was shown messages. Okay, we read that. The court heard Miss Wandelt was arrested at Bristol Airport on the 19th of February this year, and as she got off her flight. Mrs. Spragg was arrested afterwards while awaiting for her co-accused in a parked car. Okay. Open it. Okay. Oh my goodness, so bossy. Oh, this is hard to open. There you go. Thank you. So bossy. Okay. All right. So let's continue with the coverage. Agreed facts read out to court. The prosecution, Michael Duck KC, is back on his feet and has introduced his associates, Nadia Silver. Is it Nadia or Nadia? I think it's Nadia Silver, who has begun to go through agreed facts to the jury. Agreed facts in the court are matters or pieces of evidence that are both parties accepted as true and do not dispute, allowing the court to focus on the truly contentious issues. Okay. Kate McCann about to give evidence. So Kate McCann has taken the stand, guys. Madeleine's mother, Kate McCann, is now in the court behind a screen and has just been sworn to give evidence in the case. Mrs. McCann asked about first encounter with Julia Wandelt. Here we go. Here's Kate. Mrs. McCann has now begun to answer questions from prosecutor Michael Duck KC. She is asked about her phone number, which, as we heard on Monday, has not changed since Madeleine went missing in 2007. Mr. Duck Casey now turns to Julia Wandelt. Mrs. McCann confirms that she was first contacted by the defendant about 3 years ago. She also recalls a phone call when Miss Wandelt called Glenfield Hospital in evidence earlier this week. We heard Miss Wandelt call the switchboard in order to try to get a hold of her husband, Gerry. Defendant contacted Find Madeleine website. So Julia Wandelt not only contacts the hospital switchboards and all this other stuff, she also contacted that website, and that website has been standing there for many years. Defendant contacted Find Madeleine website. The court has now heard Miss Wandelt contacted the Find Madeleine website, but Mrs. McCann told the jury a web admin protected them a little bit, and details were not relayed. Okay, there's a quote from Mrs. McCann. I remember being told she tried to join various groups and forums, Mrs. McCann said. She added the first direct contact she had from Miss Wandelt was in the early part of last year. She added between 2022 and 2024, officers involved in Operation Grange, the Mets I don't have any more eggs, my honey. The Mets investigation into the disappearance first them informed that Miss Wandelt still believes she was Madeleine McCann. Let me read this again. So this is what Kate McCann is testifying. She said that she added between 2022 and 2024, officers involved in the Operation Grange in the investigation. They're the ones involved in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, right? Met them to inform that Miss Wandelt believed that she was Madeleine McCann. So Operation Grange contacted the McCanns and said, hey, we have this woman who's saying that she believes she's Madeleine McCann. So Operation Grange actively talks to the McCanns, okay? Just so people are aware. This is what she is testifying, okay? Let's keep going. Hold up. And James, thank you so much towards cause. Well, we'll see, James. I will try my best to get them, but we will see if we can get them. That would be amazing if we can get these transcripts, because I don't know too many people that have them, and it'd be great for us to like review them and stuff. Thank you, James. And Dizzy Destiny, thank you again. I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you, my love. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you guys for the support. Thank you, because not a lot of people know about this. It's not as heavily covered. I find it interesting that the people that platformed her aren't covering the case. Don't y'all find that interesting? I do. Find it sketch. Just saying. Okay. It further goes. I never lied to you. I'm not crazy. The court has now turned to January 2024 when the jury hears Miss Wandelt's contacted Emily, Madeleine's sister, who is now 20. Mrs. McCann says she was not aware of this, but found out about it later on. She told the court. She added direct communications from the defendant to her started on the 13th, April the 13th of 2024. One message reads, I never lied to you. I'm not crazy. The media made me look crazy. Another reads, I don't want money. I only want one call. I didn't want to engage. The evidence so far... Okay. I didn't want to engage. The evidence so far over the past 2 days has been heard about repeated messages Miss Wandelt sent to the McCanns over an extended period of time. When asked about the first initial contact, Mrs. McCann said, I didn't respond. I didn't want to engage. Okay. Voicemail from Julia Wandelt to Kate McCann played in court. Okay, so there's the voicemail that got played. A voicemail sent to Kate McCann from Julia Wandelt is played to the court. In it, hold up, guys. Ooh, I know the CEO be CEOing. Yes, she does. Voicemail from Julia Wandelt to Kate McCann played in court. So there's a voicemail that's played. A voicemail sent to Kate McCann from Julia Wandelt is played to court. In it, Miss Wandelt said, "If I'm her, then everything should be okay. But if I'm not, which you probably think, then I'll leave you alone. I know my accent is Polish because I live here. I'm not pretty like Madeleine, but I know what I know, and what I remember. Please give me a chance. You don't give up on your daughter. I'm not crazy." That was the voicemail that she left to the McCanns? Shh, James, right? Careful. This is a bunny boiler. Crazy. Let's keep going. Julia Wandel in tears over DNA. On repeated DNA test requests, Mrs. McCann said, "I almost wanted to put it to bed to tackle Miss Wandel's persistence." Look at what she said. At this point in the proceeding, Miss Wandel began to sob. The court heard police had excluded the possibility the defendant was Madeleine. Mr. Duck Casey then began talking about others who had claimed they might be Madeleine. He asked if Miss Wandel's claim was different from others due to her persistence. Mrs. McCann replied, "Totally." So other people who have claimed to be Maddie McCann weren't as persistent as Julia. Okay. Contact with Madeleine's sister, the final straw. Mrs. McCann was asked about when she became aware of Miss Wandel's contact with her daughter Emily. The court heard she found in September of 2024 that Miss Wandel had been contacting her daughter since January of that year. She said, "It was the final straw for me. I discussed it with the police." So the McCanns didn't even want to they knew that this was happening. They hadn't really gone to the police, or at least the police, Operation Grange, kind of knew what was up, but they hadn't even taken that point to move forward, right? So they finally said, "Now you're contacting my kids," and they're adults, they're not children, right? They're not little. But it's weird that you're getting messages from a woman who's claiming to be Maddie. I would be weird. I would be weirded out, I would. Kate said, "That's the final straw." Kate McCann relieved she was not at a vigil when defendant turned up in village. The jury has now heard about Julia Wandel's journey from Poland to the McCann's home village of Rothley in Leicestershire. An annual vigil was being held for Madeleine on the 3rd of May, 2024, to mark the anniversary of her disappearance. By chance, the court heard McCanns were away on that day, but Miss Wandel approached the village priest and Kate McCann's great aunt. When asked about her visit, Mrs. McCann told the court, "I was totally relieved we weren't there at the vigil. It's quite a hard experience having the gathering anyway. I felt I would have ended up really upset. It would have taken from the reason we were there." This is what Kate says. Court hears of Karen Sprague's contact with Kate McCann. Okay. The lady, the other lady who enables this stuff. Oh man, oh man. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. All right, let's keep going. Court hears of Karen Sprague contact with Kate McCann. Co-accused Karen Sprague is now mentioned by the prosecutor. A message sent to Mrs. McCann from Mrs. Spragg reads, "Hi, Kate. You do not know me, but I want to reach out about Julia Wandel or Julia Wendell." Mrs. McCann told the jury she did not know Mrs. Spragg by name. There was a voicemail from a lady who was Welsh, but I didn't know it was her, she said. Okay. Mrs. McCann, aware of defendant's contact with her friends. The court has previously heard Miss Wandel adjusted her target to David Payne, a friend of the McCanns. Mr. Payne and his wife Fiona had been on holiday with the McCanns when Madeleine went missing in 2007. Mrs. McCann told the court that she was aware of this contact after a conversation with Mrs. Payne. Oh my God. Like the extent that they went. I remember October was heavy for calls. Mr. Duck Casey continuing in chronological order on the number of times Miss Wandel tried to contact Mrs. McCann, who did not respond. She said, "I remember September, October being heavy for calls." Ooh. This is an interesting time frame because if I remember correctly, this was around the time that she was also going on YouTube and they were making all kinds of allegations and the DNA and the das and this might have been that time frame. The prosecutor said this continued into November of 2024. Okay. And it further goes. Kate McCann recalls first face-to-face encounter with defendant. The prosecutor has now turned to the incident when Julia Wandel and Karen Spragg turned up outside the McCann's family home in Rothley, Leicestershire on December 7th of 2024. We heard yesterday Mrs. McCann was accosted, but not physically, by Miss Wandel with the demand for a DNA test. The court heard Mrs. Spragg was present and her behavior was such that Kate McCann was unnerved by it. Mrs. McCann, recalling the incident, said, "I pulled up on the driveway. It was really dark. It was the weekend. We had really bad gales. What is that? What is it? Strong winds. Okay, so they had like strong. Is that how you say it though? So they had really gales. That's how you say that. Okay. We had really bad gales, so strong winds. So she says, "I pulled up at the driveway. It was really dark and it was the weekend. We had really bad gales. I was opening the boot to get stuff out and I heard Kate. It gave me a fright." Mrs. McCann added she pretty quickly realized who the women were. Can you imagine they pull up in the dark? She says, "I felt invaded in my home." Mrs. McCann has continued to recall the moments when the defendants approached as she got out of her car. As what Miss Wandel said to her, she said, "It was the usual stuff. I'm your daughter. You should call me mom." She was asking for a DNA test, pleading with me. She then asked about Mrs. Spragg. Mrs. McCann said that she was slightly more aggressive. Mrs. McCann continued and recalled Miss Wandel, who said tried to get in the house. Mrs. McCann said that she was aware her husband Gerry was not far behind. They were still banging at the door, she said. She added she felt invaded in her own home and distress. So Karen Spragg was slightly more aggressive. Jury told of the moments Gerry McCann arrived home. Yesterday, we were told of an audio recording in which Madeleine's father, Gerry, can be heard asking the defendant to leave the premises. Mrs. McCann, who is giving evidence at Leicester Court Ground behind a screen, told the jury she had heard her husband interacting with them, but couldn't hear details. She added after Mr. McCann came inside, there was more banging on the door, but the defendants left after 10 minutes. In full, the letter posted through the McCann door. Now hearing about the letter, which the court heard was from Miss Wandel to Mrs. McCann. that was posted through the McCann's door the day after the face-to-face meeting on the 7th of December. It reads, this is the letter. Dear Mom, Kate, I'm so sorry for causing you so much distress, but when I saw you yesterday, my emotions were so strong. I felt so close connection to you. I don't like seeing you upset. All I want is to find out the truth. I have memories and I have gathered a lot of evidence supporting my case. I think that inside your heart, you believe and you know I am your daughter. I don't understand why you don't want to do a DNA test with me. I think you are scared, but whatever makes you scared, just remember you are stronger than that. Yesterday, I heard a lot of care and love in your voice. I hope you will find a way to contact me. The letter was signed off with Madeleine X. Let me gather my coffee and my thoughts. Can we please get at least 100? Where are we at on the likes? Let me make sure, guys. I know we don't have a lot of people here. Can we get at least to the 100 likes? Let me see where we're at. Give me 1 second, guys, because we got to make sure we get this out there. Okay, we do have 100 likes. Can we get at least to 180? That would be amazing. Please and thank you. Oh my goodness. Okay. That was the letter. I know, right? Like, oh my God. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys, because it's the easiest way to support the channel. Thank you. Cash towards CEO at Art Supplies. You will not obtain the transcripts. UK laws are very strict on such. Gotta wash off the pots. Listening. Keep Artie CEO. She's an artist, Cash. She's an artist. We like art, so she definitely got that. Thank you so much, Cash. Yeah, I might not be able to get them. I will try. I will see what happens. I'll try, but I don't know if I'll be able to get them. And thank you, Cash, for the $4.99. I appreciate it. Okay. Excuse me. Let's keep going, all right? So this is the letter in full, just so people are aware. I'm glad that it's posted here. Now hold up. Letter was really distressing, Kate McCann says. Mrs. McCann was asked about her reaction to the letter and the fact that it was signed off with their missing daughter's name with a kiss. She told the jury, I think that is an example of the thing that was upsetting me the most. Mrs. McCann said reading the letter was really distressing, she says. Okay. Kate McCann added to WhatsApp groups. What? Kate McCann added to WhatsApp groups. Kate McCann's evidence now turns to her recalling being added to WhatsApp groups in February this year. Yesterday, we heard the defendant continue to make claims about the McCann's involvement in their daughter's disappearance, including a WhatsApp group that Mrs. McCann's number was added to. I would not get added and removed. I would get added and removed myself and get added again. I was conscious of it going on, Mrs. McCann said. She said other people were involved in the WhatsApp group and were calling for a DNA test to be carried out. It just felt a bit out of my control. I didn't want any involvement at all, she added. Wait a minute. So these supporters why aren't these supporters all being held accountable? You're adding this woman to a WhatsApp group. She doesn't want to be part of that. And you guys are adding her to a number and she's trying to block or whatever. And then it's like, they got to keep adding her again. Like that's crazy work, guys. Okay. Keeps going. I thought Julia's behavior indicated that she might have mental health problems. Yeah, her mother, by the way, her bio mother has tried. They tried, but she is like 22, 24 years old. When all of this started, she was 21, 22. Her bio mother has tried. A lot of people have spoken to her bio mother. Her bio mother has given documentation and everything. And I don't blame her bio mother because what can you do to control your 24-year-old daughter that's doing all this? There isn't a whole lot, guys. Her bio mother has tried. This is why she's been silent. She doesn't want, I don't blame her. I don't. What can you do once your child is an adult? You can't stop her. You can't lock her up. Keep going. I thought Julia's behavior indicated she might have mental health problems. Mrs. McCann has recalled some messages in the WhatsApp group about Miss Wandelt saying she was depressed. I did actually feel concerned and a bit guilty, Mrs. McCann said. I always thought Julia's behavior indicated that she might have mental health problems. Mrs. McCann's children have had a lot to deal with. Kate McCann said since the arrest of the defendants, her stress levels had gone down. Okay. She added, what? She's a grown woman. That's right. Thank you, right? Please say this louder. Like literally, she's older than Maddie McCann. She's not even Maddie McCann's age. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going, y'all. Sorry, baby bunny's being funny. I thought Julia's behavior indicated, okay, we read this. Mrs. McCann's children have had a lot to deal with. Kate McCann said since the arrest of the defendants, her stress levels had gone down. She added she did not want anything like this to put extra focus on Shaun and Emily. What they've had to deal with and still have to deal with is a lot. And we try to keep it at a minimum, Mrs. McCann said. So those are her other children. These are Maddie McCann's siblings. Okay. Let's keep going. Why are you doing this to me? Defendant led away from dock. What? Why are you doing this to me? Defendant led away from dock. The prosecution has now finished asking Kate McCann question. The judge was about to instruct a 10-minute break before she is cross-examined. But at the conclusion of Mrs. McCann's evidence, Julia Wandelt began to sob loudly and shouted, "Why are you doing this to me?" She was then led away by two dock officers, leaving Karen Spragg alone. Wait a minute. Julia Wandelt is what they call the dock, which some of us we would call like the stand or that area. And Julia Wandelt then yells out, "Why are you doing this to me?" You would think that she would realize the age would be important, Teresa, but not for her supporters and not for Julia Wandelt. And you know what? Once Julia Wandelt gets on the appropriate mental health services and whatever it is that she needs, I really hope that those supporters that are there with her, enabling and have enabled her and have paid for her to do all this ish, they're held accountable because she really has to blame them too for this, honestly. This happened in court. Oh my God. "Why are you doing this to me?" she yells. Then she was led away by two dock officers, leaving Karen Spragg alone. "Honey, it's too cold to go swimming." No. Maybe some other time. Girls, you want to go swimming. Let's keep going, okay? 18-year search of Maddie McCann. So they just kind of give us a little snippet of, all the searches. I think we covered this search too. This was within the last, what is it? Couple years. There was a clue that Maddie McCann might have been buried in like this little area with water and stuff, but nothing came out of that. Just so people are aware. We're not going to read that, but just so people are aware. Who's the main suspect? This guy right here. I can never say his last name, but Christian, extensive criminal history. They believe that this man is responsible for Maddie McCann being vanished and whatnot. But he's serving I believe a sentence for R-ing a girl. Okay. Kate McCann's evidence and the key takeaways so far. So let's get into this. Okay, girl, hold up. I told her, Storm. She's like, get, no, it's too cold outside. Oh, telling you. Hey, let me stop. So here's the evidence. This is what we have so far. So Kate McCann was shielded from the dock by a curtain as she entered the witness box. The jury was told the use of a screen was entirely usual and did not reflect on the defendant in any way. I mean, I would want to be shielded too if I like had Julia Wandelt there and she's saying that she's my daughter. Like that shit would creep me out. I'm just being real. Mrs. McCann said that the first contact with Julia defendant occurred about 3 years ago. A voicemail from Miss Wandelt to Mrs. McCann was played to the courtroom on Wednesday. Mrs. McCann said Miss Wandelt contacting her daughter Emily was the final straw, prompting her to call the police. The court heard of Mrs. McCann's relief that she was not in Rothley when Miss Wandelt turned up at a visual marking Madeleine's disappearance on the 3rd of May of 2024. Miss McCann then recalled the defendants turning up at her home on the 7th of December. A letter posted through the McCann's door the day after the hold up, y'all. All right, let's keep going. So a letter posted through the McCann's door the day after the face-to-face encounter was then read at court before Miss Wandelt was led away from the dock after sobbing loudly and shouting, "Why are you doing this to me?" Okay. All right. Cross-examination of Kate begins. Ooh, okay. So they're about to do a cross-examination. Here we go. Tom Price, KC, representing Julia Wandelt. So that's her attorney. His name is Tom Price, representing Julia Wandelt, is now cross-examining Kate McCann. He began by asking about the nature of the liaison between Operation Grange and the McCanns. Mr. Price, KC, continues and asks about Miss McCann's phone number, which has not changed since Madeleine went missing in Portugal in 2007. Miss McCann then said Portuguese police files leaked their number. Okay, so the Portuguese police files leaked their number. Now, here's my question. For those that are from the UK, what does KC mean at the end of a lawyer? If somebody can let me know in the chat, because I noticed it a lot. I'm not familiar. What does it mean? Cash, what does the KC mean at the end of a lawyer's name? Let me know. So they're cross-examining Kate. King's Counsel. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Shout out to you guys. It used to be Queen's Counsel. It's King's Counsel. Gotcha. Okay, counsel. Thank you, guys. Y'all didn't know. I learned something today. The more you know. The more you know. Okay, let's keep going. I didn't change my number on principle. Mrs. McCann, who was giving evidence to Leicester Crown Court from behind a screen, said journalists had approached her about Miss Wandelt and DNA, but repeated that when she found out about Emily being contacted, that was the final straw. She added she never changed her number on principle. I didn't feel like I should do that, she said. She said she blocked Miss Wandelt's number and deleted some messages. Okay, hold up, y'all. Okay. She says she blocked Miss Wandelt's number and deleted some messages. Sometimes she said it was a no caller ID, which was a problem as Miss Wandelt would call and police would call too with no caller ID, she added. Oh, so it's like she's trying to like figure out who's Wandelt and who's calling, and she's not blocking numbers because she has to be careful, right? So King's Counsel barristers. Okay, thank you guys. Oh my God, thank you. Y'all are amazing. Shout out to my UK supporters and subscribers because I'm like, I don't know. Hold up. All right. So Keen's counsel gets appointed. They are on the top of their game. Gotcha. They could sentence her to an indefinite mental health sentence. We have a few secure female units, says well, I think that she needs help. Julia Wandel's been doing this, and this is not the first, family. The McCanns are not the first. She claimed to be, look, she just painted on me. She claimed to be like 3 other people. You know what I mean? So yeah, like she deserves it. Baby Bunny just painted on me. I don't know if y'all notice this. She is something else, man. Okay. So she says, I didn't change my number on principle. Let's keep going. People turn up less frequently now. Mr. Price Casey has asked Mrs. McCann about people turning up at the family home. She told the jury that journalists and the odd person had called in before, but they would be directed to the police. It happens less frequently now, but sporadically, every 6 months, maybe, she says. Okay. They were knocking, not banging. Okay, here we go. Julia Wandel's lawyer has now said all requests for a DNA test were made via phone or email, and that there were only one meeting in person when Miss Wandel visited the address. Asked about the letter Miss Wandel was holding, Mrs. McCann said, I was aware that she was holding something. She was pleading. She was asking about the DNA test again. She added, the defendants didn't give me any indication they wanted to hurt her. Okay. Mr. Price told the court the pair were knocking, not banging, in order to carry on the conversation. Okay. Kate McCann tells court she never admitted to Kate McCann tells court she never attempted to contact Julia Wandel. In her final answer to Mr. Price KC before Karen Spragg barrister begins in his questioning, Kate McCann says she never attempted any contact with Julia Wandel. Simon Russell Flint, KC, is now preparing to cross-examine Mrs. McCann. Okay, so it's a different way that the UK does this. Okay, so this, I guess I was under the assumption that the hearing for this was only, or the trial for this was only for Julia Wandel, but it sounds like it's 2 trials, right? And so Karen Sprague's attorney is also going to cross-examine Kate McCann. Okay. Which Karen Spragg is the co-defendant. Okay. Kate McCann asked about girl who went to home address in 2022. Mr. Russell Flint Casey is now on his feet and began his question on behalf of his client, Mrs. Spragg. The barrister turns to a visit from an American girl who he said turned up at their address in Leicestershire in 2022. Mr. Russell Flint Casey said she spoke to Kate McCann and handed her a letter, which was taken and passed on to Operation Grange, the Met police investigation into Madeleine McCann's disappearance, the court heard. I can't remember. She was talking about being missing, Mrs. McCann said. I don't remember if she said she was Madeleine. She didn't call me mother. Police said she was known. So this is a separate incident of an American girl who appeared at the McCann's home and was handing them letters. Interesting. She's co-conspirator here, so we try to get them together. Gotcha. Period. They're not talking about it now. I wonder. Period. Okay, let's keep going. None of it made any sense. Mr. Russell Flint Casey turned to the DNA test, or lack thereof. He asked Kate McCann why she didn't do a DNA test. She responded by saying, having seen a photograph of Julia Wandel and the fact that she was Polish, none of it made sense. Okay. I know I can't say what Madeleine looks like now, but I know I'd recognize her, Mrs. McCann said. She added there was a tiny little what is that word? Nigel? Let's see. Niggle. That's what it is. There was a tiny, she added, there was a tiny niggle in her brain that doing the test would have stopped Miss Wandelt. Okay. This is Ms. McCann answering about the test. I know I can't say what Madeleine looks like now, but I know I'd recognize her, Mrs. McCann says. So Mrs. McCann's feeling guilty for not doing the test because she's like, well, maybe it wouldn't have gone this far. I don't know. She responded by saying, having seen photographs of Julia Wandelt and the fact that she's Polish, none of it made sense. Okay. Noting nothing sinister about defendant's contact, lawyer says. Mr. Russell Flint, KC, is now asking about a voicemail Mrs. Spragg left for Miss McCann on the 9th of October last year. In it, that's literally almost a year ago, in it, he said there was something about providing information about a new DNA linking Julia Wandelt to Madeleine McCann. Mr. Flint, KC, said there was nothing sinister about the contact. I mean, Mr. Flint, KC, is doing what he's supposed to do to defend Karen Spragg. Police could have taken action through stalking protection order. Kate McCann has been asked about Operation Grange police advice on seeking an injunction through civil courts after a crime reported was raised with Leicestershire police. Mrs. McCann says she did not want to make any action through that channel. Mr. Flint said police could have taken action through a stalking protection order. No action was taken until February, he added. Mrs. McCann said that she could not recall any mention of that. A stalking protection order is a civil order in England and Wales that allows police to intervene and protect victims of stalking by imposing restrictions or requirements on the alleged perpetrator. Okay. Police contacted 2 days after doorstep confrontation, jury told. Mrs. McCann is now asked about the confrontation on the doorstep where both defendants traveled to their address on the 7th of December in 2024 to demand a DNA test. Mr. Russell Flint said Mrs. Spragg said words to the effect of, take the test if you want to find out. Mrs. McCann said it was aggressive and that Julia Wandelt had asked Mrs. Spragg not to speak to her like that. Okay, and the police were only contacted 2 days later by the McCanns, Mr. Russell Flint added. This is interesting. It's an interesting point. So the McCanns didn't contact the police 2 days after the event. The police weren't contacted right away. That's interesting. Hold up, guys. Hey, you said rabbit. You're saying, what am I saying wrong? What part am I saying wrong? The police were only contacted 2 days later by the McCanns, Mr. Russell said. Mr. Russell Flint KC added. What part? Gotcha. I have no idea. I don't know if she's behind on the chat or what. Can you let me know? Oh, the name. I say Shire from Lancashire. Oh, the name? Isn't it Leicestershire? I don't know. Well, the location. Y'all know what I mean. Okay, thank you. Is that correct? Now I want to Google it. Hold up. I'm totally probably saying it wrong. Leicestershire. That's what Google said. Did Google get it wrong too? Or is it just me? Shire or sure? Anyways, thank you. I don't want to get distracted anymore. Bye, chat. I'm not looking at the chat anymore. Okay. So that the police were contacted only 2 days later by the McCanns, Mr. Flint says. Okay, so Kate McCann finishes giving evidence. Prosecuting lawyer Michael Duck. I know, I'm just going to say police, Smurgy. I'm just going to say police. Okay. Um, Kate McCann finishes giving evidence. Prosecuting lawyer Michael Duck is back on his feet and has checked the dates Miss Wandelt was reported to the police. He said the police did offer investigative solutions and left a lot of decision making with the McCanns. Kate McCann is thanked by the judge and has been told she can leave. We are now breaking for lunch with proceedings set to resume at 14:30. Okay. So here we go. We're almost done here. This is 6:58. Hold up. Oh yeah, we're almost done here. 6:58. Tears and tissue in the dock. Lesher. Did I say that correctly, Teresa? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for I feel good. Thank you for saying that. I'm learning. I don't know, man. I'm telling you. One sec, guys. Okay, let's continue. Tears and tissue in the dock. The evidence at the court, at the Crown Court, now I'm not even going to say it anymore, has concluded in a less dramatic fashion after the cross examinations with tears and tissues in the dock earlier today, while Kate McCann gave evidence from behind a pale blue curtain. She repeatedly spoke of her will for the matter to just be over with. The choreographer of the choreography of maneuvering the shield witness, the jury, the press, public, and defendants shown in a court sketch below will continue after lunch. So this is them in the dock. Is that I'm kind of curious to see what their courtrooms look like. Interesting. Interesting. So okay, thank you. Leicester, sure, kind of like New Hampshire. Thank you, Mochi. Thank you. Hold up. All right, sorry, I'm muted. Okay. Leisure. Okay, I think I said it. All right, thank you. Okay, let's do so this is the tissue in the docs recap. What we have heard in cross-examination. After answering questions from the prosecution, Kate McCann was cross-examined by barristers representing Julia Wandelt, 24, and 61-year-old Karen Spragg. Here's a summary of what we've heard. So Kate told the court Portuguese police files leaked their phone number. She said that she did not change her phone number, which has been the same since her daughter Madeleine disappeared in 2007 on principle. Julia Wandelt lawyer suggested the defendants were knocking, not banging, on the door when they came to the McCann's home. I don't know, man. I have the recording of what happened afterwards, and the way they describe that, I don't believe anything that they said. Mrs. McCann was asked about an American girl who went to the home address in 2022. There was an American girl who went to the home address in 2022. Why is that relevant? I don't know. Like, is she related to Julia Wandelt? I don't know. Mrs. McCann said doing a DNA made no sense at all when she saw photos of Miss Wandelt. Karen Sprague's lawyer said that there was nothing sinister about a voicemail his client left for Mrs. McCann on the 9th of October last year. If you're contacting people when they've specifically told you cease communication, cease contact, don't contact me, you're not like, that is sinister. Like, I'm sorry. People that don't want to be in, and people do it online too all the time. People be tagging you on shit that you don't want to be tagged after you specifically told them, I don't want contact with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. And y'all are still doing it. At some point, it raises to harassment, right? So, yeah, like that is sinister. Sinister for sure. Let's keep going. Gerry McCann about, oh, now we got Gerry McCann on the stand. Gerry McCann about to give evidence. We are now about to begin the afternoon session. The jury and the defendants are in their places. Kate McCann, oh, Kate McCann has finished her evidence, and the prosecution has called her husband, Gerry, who has sworn on the Bible. The Bible. Sworn on the Bible. Michael Duck will begin his questioning shortly. All right, here we go. So, Mr. McCann became aware of Julia Wandelt in 2023, court told. Gerry McCann is now on the stand answering questions from the prosecution. He said he first became aware of Julia Wandelt in 2023. He is asked to turn to some evidence in his bundle, which is an email from the University Hospital of Leicester NHS Trust Communications manager on the 24th of June of 2023. In it, she said she had been in contact with a person from the hospital switchboard who said a person called Julia Wandelt called the claiming to be Madeleine McCann and asked to speak to him. He says, I'm sure I would not have responded. Speaking about a follow-up email from Julia Wandelt, Mr. McCann said he was sure he would not have responded as it was an investigation matter. And he would have forwarded to the officers at Operation Grange. I keep on top of my emails pretty religiously, he added. Mr. McCann was very confident picture of defendant was not Madeleine. Mr. McCann is asked about media attention Miss Wandelt garnered in 2023. We'd become aware of a lot of noise around Madeleine's case. We heard murmurings from social media. We weren't on it. But we heard about it, he said. He added it was when a photograph was sent by a police liaison that he became fully aware of Miss Wandelt. Mr. McCann added, the police told him this is the girl who's been in contact who thinks she's Madeleine. We're pretty confident it isn't, but you could look at the picture. He said he was very confident just by looking at it, it was not his daughter. There you go. He looked at the picture and said, that's not my daughter. Beautiful art, honey. Beautiful art. Do another one. Give me one sec, guys. All right. You're not Madeleine. Stop calling. When asked about the messages of his daughter, Emily, from Miss Wandelt in early 2024, he said he was not aware at the point and added, it makes me quite sad to know Emily didn't tell us about these. Oh, girl. Oh, my, he's fine. You'll be fine. Okay. So Emily had not told the McCanns about the messages. It makes me quite sad. Oh, hold up, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Baby Bunny does too much. You're not Madeline. Stop calling. So Gerry McCann was like saying, it makes me quite sad to know Emily didn't tell us about these. So the McCanns didn't even know that Julia and company were messaging the siblings, right? That's interesting. He added he was aware of Miss Wandelt contacting his wife in the summer last year, possibly earlier. He told the court many times the phone would ring and ring and ring with no caller ID. His wife was obviously very distressed, irritable, struggling to concentrate, he said. Mr. McCann told the court he did on one occasion answer the phone. He said, I can't remember the exact words, but I said something like, You're not Madeline. I made it clear these were unwanted calls. Okay. Mr. McCann tells of absolute relief at not coming into contact with Miss Wandell at the vigil. Okay. Mr. McCann is now being asked about the vigil in their village of Rothley on May 3rd, 2024, which they did not attend. One date I can be certain of for sure. We'd been on a short break and we were really debating knowing we'd missed the visual, but we really needed a break. So we went, Mr. McCann said. He said that when they returned, he found out the defendant had traveled to the village. I know that Janet, Kate's aunt, had a long conversation with her, Miss Wandell, he told the court. Asked about missing the visual, he said. There were mixed feelings. We felt guilty where family and friends and residents were showing their support for Madeline. But he added there was absolute relief they did not come into contact with Miss Wandell. You imagine the show that would have been there if they would have been there? Letter and box of wine found the day after visual. Mr. McCann continues and said a letter and a box of wine were found outside of their home the next day. He said he was not certain if the wine was from Miss Wandell or another source. Girl. Or another source, and added that phone calls after this were unrelenting. Kate was very distressed when defendants appeared at the house. We now have turned to the confrontation. When the court heard the defendants approach both Kate and Gerry McCann on the evening of the 7th of December of 2024. We had been at a swimming competition in Sherfield with our son Shaun. My car was at the train station, which is why. Ooh, girl. Okay. Kate was very distressed when defendants appeared at the house. We now have turned to the confrontation when the court heard the defendants approach both Kate and Gerry McCann on the evening of the 7th of December. We had been at a swimming competition. Okay, so they were at swimming with Shaun. My car was at the train station, which is why we arrived separately, Mr. McCann told the court. I spoke to Kate and she called me. It was a warning call that Julia and another woman were outside of our property and accosted Kate on the way in, he said. She was very distressed. Her voice, she was clearly upset. We all know when people are affected, and she clearly was. Mr. McCann spotted two women on his driveway. Recalling that he pulled up at the home, he told the court there was a small white car parked on the verge as you drive in. That was very unusual. Two women on the drive area. I was able to identify. I had been told by Kate that it was Julia, but then I had seen the photographs. It looked very much like the same woman. She had some papers in her hand in a poly pocket and a phone in her other hand. The second woman, known now to be co-accused Karen Spragg, he said she got pretty close to me. I estimated that she was about 60 years of age. Okay. Court played audio of the confrontation. Before the audio was played, Mr. McCann told the court that he did not know he was being recorded. In the audio, he said he could be heard saying, "I don't want any information. The police are well aware of Juliet in her situation." He then added, "You're not Madeleine. Please don't hassle us." Ms. Wandelt is then heard saying, "How do you know?" Mr. Duck KC asked Mr. McCann about his recollection of the event. "I was probably much calmer than I would have been if Kate didn't warn me," he said. Dang. Gerry McCann saw defendant on U.S. TV show. Mr. McCann told the court that he was aware of the DNA request Julia Wandelt had made and said that he had seen her on a U.S. TV show. He added Miss Wandelt was trying to force A4 documents in his hand during the confrontation. Mr. McCann said that caused the scuffling noises on the audio and added that there was no direct physical contact. He said he got inside, drew the curtains across the door, and went to his wife, who was in the kitchen. Mr. McCann said that the pair were banging and shouting for about 10 to 15 minutes. Kate was pretty shaken, he told the court. She was in the house on her own. I think she felt frightened. Okay. Very emotive, very distressing. Mr. Duck Casey now turns to the letter posted the day after the visual, which was read out loud in full earlier today. During Kate McCann's evidence, when asked about it, Mr. McCann said, "I'm pretty sure seeing it now, I didn't read it. I think I made the decision not to read it because obviously it's very emotive and distressing. It takes a toll." He added, "We know she is not Madeleine." Brought back horrible memories. Asked further, on the effect it has on the family, Mr. McCann said, we don't know what happened to Madeleine. There's no evidence she's dead. When people claim to be your missing daughter you haven't seen for this long, it pulls your heartstrings, but it is damaging the search for Madeleine. He added they had now renewed their CCTV following the incident. Speaking further, Mr. McCann told the court, "It brings back a lot of horrible memories of when the media was camped outside our house. We rarely get people coming to the house now, but every time you're driving up home, you're worried if someone's going to be there. You're nervous for the 10 seconds it takes to drive down your road." He added the extreme nature of the contact made him think in the back of the head that this could result in physical violence. I mean, I bet they're probably like worried, you know? Clearly, Shelly, I feel like I'm kind of with you on that, where it's like you don't have to feel, because like I think that all of this could have been preventable, right? As far as what happened to Maddie McCann. They didn't have to leave their kids while they went to party. I completely agree. But I feel bad in the sense that they have gotten stalked to this point, that it literally went to this point. And a lot of us who covered it before she was contacting the McCanns, we were really concerned about what extent she could go. And now here you are. Like now she's sitting in this courtroom. So yeah, I agree. I'm completely agree with this statement. Okay. Pronounced Sheffield. Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you guys for helping me. Okay. Let's keep going. Miss Wandelt's barrister cross-examines Mr. McCann. So Tom Price, KC for Miss Wandelt, has started his cross-examination of Mr. McCann. He asked about personal details about being made public following the disappearance of his daughter in 2007. He says the Portuguese police got put online
The Portuguese police files got put online in 2008. When they closed the case, everything was put online, said Mr. McCann. Mr. McCann said he changed his number after this. He was asked about blocking Julia Wandelt as a contact and responded that Miss Wandelt would call using no caller ID. Mr. Price KC said during the pair's visit to the home on the 7th of December 2024, they asked outside of the house for 2 or 3 minutes, but Mr. McCann said he thought it was 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. I rarely go online. Simon Russell Flint, KC. So Simon Russell is the barrister for Karen Spragg, is now asking Mr. McCann questions on behalf of Karen Spragg. He asked the witness about the McCann's awareness of what people are saying about them. Mr. McCann said he rarely goes online, but sometimes did see what was being said about them due to the intensity at times. He said that's how he saw Julia Wandelt talking to the U.S. TV program. Okay. 3 reasons for no DNA tests. Oh, here you go. 3 reasons for no DNA tests. Mr. Russell Flint Casey asked Mr. McCann why they did not support a DNA test following calls from Julia Wandelt supporters for one to be carried out. 3 reasons, he says. We didn't believe she was Madeleine. We'd been reassured by the Metropolitan Police following their investigation within Poland. She was who her name is. Lastly, it's not our responsibility to do a DNA test. It matters for an investigative forces. The McCanns did not discuss a DNA test until after her arrest, the court was told. We didn't think there was any doubt that she was not Madeleine, Mr. McCann said. Mr. Flint, Casey asked, did you ever wonder what if? Mr. McCann responded, to be honest, no. There you go. Karen Spragg spoke of cover-ups and conspiracy theories. Ooh. Okay, hold up. Let me see how much we have left over. Okay, we don't have a lot. All right. Mr. Russell Flint, Casey said there was no shouting on the night of the encounter of December 7, 2024. Mr. McCann said, I find that incredulous, sir. Prosecutor Michael Duck, KC, then asked a follow-up question about Karen Spragg and her manner on that evening. Mr. McCann said that she was confrontational, accusatory, saying things that clearly weren't true about cover-ups and conspiracy theories. Okay, so the court rises for the day, and here are the key takeaways. So Gerry McCann has testified. First thing that we found out, and by the way, there'll be court tomorrow, of course, where I don't know what they're going to do, but there'll be court tomorrow. And I'm assuming they're probably going to bring more people. I'm wondering if they're going to bring that nonprofit that Julia contacted about those other 3 missing people that she wanted to be. Gerry McCann first became aware of Julia Wandelt in 2023 when she was contacted in the hospital. He worked at the He worked claiming to be Madeleine McCann. Now I'm going to skip the word until I can say it correctly. Mr. McCann was very confident. A picture of the defendant was not Madeleine. You're not Madeleine. Stop. Okay, honey. You're not Madeleine. Stop calling. This is what Mr. McCann told the defendant. Mr. McCann told of his absolute relief at not coming into contact with Miss Wandelt at the vigil in 2024. Kate was very distressed, and Mr. McCann said that he saw Miss Wandelt on the U.S. TV show. He added the defendant's turning up at his house brought back horrible memories. Mr. McCann said that there were 3 reasons for no DNA. Karen Spragg spoke of cover-ups and conspiracy theories. Okay. And the recap, emotional Gerry McCann gives evidence in court. So on Wednesday, both he and Madeleine McCann mother told the court about a distressing impact of the persistent approaches of Julia Wandelt, 24, who believes she's the missing girl. Mr. McCann was told to take his time as he was there. As he said, there was no evidence that Madeleine is dead and that Miss Wandelt's claims were damaging to the investigation. Miss Wandelt and her co-accuser Karen Spragg, who the jury was told played an active role in Miss Wandelt's approach to the family, each deny account of stalking, causing serious alarm and distress to the McCanns between the time frame listed. So The live coverage has ended. Just a couple of takeaways. Kate McCann was visibly upset when discussing the repeated requests for DNA to determine if Julia Wandelt was Madeleine. She told the court, I almost wanted to put it to bed. This is what Kate McCann said. Miss Wandelt traveled from Poland to the McCann's home village of Rothley for a vigil, but the couple were not present as they were away that day. And that, my friends, is interesting because the supporters will say, well, if she didn't encounter them, it's not really stalking. She went to this vigil where they were having for Maddie McCann, hoping to see them there. She didn't go just to say hello. She went there. She went there. Here's the deal. Why doesn't she ask her mother? Why did she refuse her mother's DNA test? That's the question that I have. Why did she refuse her mother's DNA test? Why did Julia Wandelt refuse to do a DNA test with her own mother? That's the question. Can you guys ask Julia Wandelt that? She refused it. Julia Wandelt lied and said that the mother had refused to do the DNA test with her. No, Julia Wandelt was the one who refused to do the DNA test with her. Julia Wandelt's mom offered to do the test. So that's the question. Why don't people ask her that? Why don't they ask her that? Julia Wandelt has kept this going for, I don't know, so many years. Let me know. Her mother offered before it even escalated to this. Exactly, Mochi. This could have stayed in Poland. Her mother offered to do a DNA test. Her mother offered. She came when Julia Wandelt. This is the problem that I have. I was one of the ones, myself and the real Julia Wandelt page. There's some other pages too that were first to document this situation. Very first to document. That's right. Her mother and her family have offered the DNA test. Julia needs mental health treatment. Thank you, McKenna. Her mother literally offered to put this to rest before it even got to this point. Julia Wandelt did not want to do that. Julia Wandelt is 24 years old. She took it this far, along with her supporters. Now, I believe that Julia Wandelt needs help. I hope that whatever comes out of this, that is literally to help her out. That's it. Why are people putting the DNA test on the McCanns? That's the question that I have. Why didn't Julia take the test when her mother offered her to do it? Let me read this to you. I used to speak with Dorada. This is her mother. She looks exactly like her mother. I used to speak with Dorada back in 2023, and this is how Julia's mother speaks of Julia, with fondness and sadness. I'm sharing this photo because I'm sick of Julia's followers saying it's been edited or faked. Here you can see the image from her mother sent. It's the exact same image that has been widely shared. Very clearly, mother and daughter, incredibly similar features. Julia would have been 15 or 16 in 2017, not even Maddie McCann's age. I've covered her surname and photos to try to avoid her being stalked on FB. This is a message. I still look at one of our holiday photos. It was 2017. We went together, I and Julia, of our holidays, mother and daughter. Perfect timing. I can't believe what happened now. Dorada is Julia's, that's her mama. Thank you. Identical. Right. Maybe if they feel like if they give it DNA, they'll be entertaining her and they'll have to entertain everybody else, right? Because like, listen, imagine in 2022, they just said that somebody from the US showed up to their house talking about, I'm your daughter. A couple of months ago, there was a woman in Arkansas who said, I'm Maddie McCann. So are we going to DNA everybody? Are we going to DNA everybody? Now, here's the deal. The biggest red flag. Julia Wandelt said she was 3 other missing people before she landed on Maddie McCann. Julia Wandelt wanted to be a singer There were so many IGs where she's there singing and singing and singing and singing. And she wanted to be a singer. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to be famous. She couldn't do that. She couldn't cut it. She turned into sex work. Okay. She wanted that kind of that's what she wanted, guys. That's her background. So I don't know why people deny it. So that's the question that I have for the supporters. The question that I have for the supporters. Why didn't Julia take the DNA test from her mother, Dorada, and her family members? Why didn't she do a DNA test with them? Why do the McCanns have to provide a DNA test to her? If that is the case, and there's dozens of women that say that they are Madeleine McCann, they would have to do a DNA test to everybody. Julia's mother refused to. That's not true. In many occasions, after things started to escalate, show me the receipt where she refused. That's not true. That is not true. Not true. Her mother did one on occasion to tell Julia that she would do one and then stop speaking to her. That's not true. She continued and she met up with these supporters that enabled that behavior. And if I was Dorada, and if I have a business, and if I have a life, my 24-year-old daughter, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? She's refusing it. She lied when she came back online. She told people there was no birth pictures of her. There was. Julia Wandelt has lied so many times, and people just enable her. Exactly. You have to acknowledge Julia told people what she wanted them to believe. That is true, Mochi. Very, very true. Very true. Bring me the receipts. Bring me the receipts when Dorada said that, and I'll bring you. I mean, I got timestamps. We could start playing some of these videos again. We could do that, and y'all can see the timestamps of everything that I've had. I can show you the receipt of all kinds of things. Bring me the receipts. The receipts aren't a Shaun Attwood video. That's not what I'm talking about. A Julia interview is not a receipt. Just saying. All right, guys. I do have to get out and go. I have to go because I got to go tend to baby bunny. Oh. I will see you guys later on. All right. I got to go, guys, because I got to go tend to baby bunny. But y'all let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, Julia gets the help that she needs. Obviously. That's my hope, too, honestly. I will see you guys later on. There's so much information about this that you clearly have no knowledge about. Well, thank you so much. Please show me the receipts. And I'm not talking about Shaun Attwood videos. Thank you. Bye, guys.